Many of Raleigh's youth are in a vulnerable place. Anxiety and depression have never been higher. Youth homelessness is a very real issue, and opportunity isn't knocking behind every door. But there are heroes stepping into this darkness, nonprofit leaders focused on our community's youth.
Be honest, like growing up in the projects, the hood, the ghetto, whatever you call it, you just trying to survive, because you go outside, the strong survive. You go outside and you consider weak, you might get robbed, you might get beat up. A lot of the pain that I had from a child was mainly from my house. And then in my community, around when I was like in the 5th grade, I moved near Sanford Road. And it was definitely like new for me, because it was like the gang culture around there was different. It was more heavier than my previous neighborhood. I can remember I stayed like in a street right here, like right across the other street. People, we could like see right across the street. Guys was on the block, gang flags out, just doing whatever they did.
There's a lot that a caring adult could learn from the circumstances of our young kids, and they teach me a lot, because the resilience it takes to deal with just some of the things that they see and some of the things they have to go through.
We don't have to look far to find negative stereotypes, negative titles, negative activities. We don't have to look far. Every time we turn on the TV, every time we look up, there's something going on that can have a negative impact on our mentality. It can have a negative impact on the growth of our young people. And so I think we have to overshadow that, and we have to show this is what our young people are doing. These are the opportunities that are out there. So instead of them saying, well, losing hope, saying I don't really have anything else going for me, so let me just go ahead and fall into this peer pressure, fall into this cycle that I've seen repeated over and over again. They have to be exposed to something different.
I didn't have an identity. I didn't know what I was supposed to be. Like, my father wasn't there. My uncles, they were all, guys that were in the streets. The stories I did hear about my real father that I never met, he was supposedly in the streets. My friends was all in the streets. My cousins was all in the streets. I thought the same things that other people thought. I just didn't do it. It wasn't me. So Neighbor to Neighbor really just gave me a refocus, gave me a different world view. And, it's really, I'm growing every day, and it's just really shaping what life is for me.
One of my favorite success stories is about a youth that we worked with this was a couple of years ago, came to us with a lot of needs, was facing some gang issues, lots of issues in the home. It was a single parent home, lots of academic problems. And I remember when we started working with him, graduating wasn't even on the table as a possibility. We were really just looking at survival for the family and survival for this youth. And we ended up about 1.5 years, 2 years later getting a text message from the parent who sent it to the caseworker who had worked with him, and it was a graduating picture. He was in a cap and gown. He's with his family, and it was the pride on his face, that smile that was on his face was just unbelievable. And that's, I think that face was what stuck with me all this time, because I don't think he ever thought he'd get there. I know his mom never thought he'd get there.
School can happen at church, school can happen at home, school can happen when you're by yourself, alone in a corner with a book. And engaging with that individual or with these individuals to make sure that, first of all, there are so many different learning styles. And so if we present one specific learning style to 1,000 youth, you might get 10% that you're going to impact. But if you present the information that you're trying to present in the learning style that child can learn, you'll see a huge difference.
With a kid, you don't know, like, you're making that impact right there. They might never tell you thank you for coming to see me every week, but you got to believe that it means something. And then when they get older and they become an adult, they look back and say, yeah, that person was the one that helped me along the way. So I would encourage any organization, anybody that do what we do, get involved. In Raleigh, we have a lot of places that you can get involved and do that. Take your passion, take your talent, your treasure, your time, and invest back because someone invested in us.